Welcome back to the deep dive. We need to start today by talking about reverse psychology.
Okay.
You know that feeling when you see a wet paint sign and you just have this overwhelming, almost primal urge to touch the bench?
Oh, absolutely. Just to check.
Just to see, right?
It's the forbidden fruit effect.
Yeah.
It's a real thing, psychological reactance. When our freedom to do something is threatened, even by something as simple as a sign, we instinctively push back. We want to regain that agency.
Exactly. And I bring that up because the book we are covering today, The Reptile Room by Lemony Snicket, relies entirely on that impulse.
It really does.
The narrator, Lemony Snicket, spends the opening pages practically begging you to stop reading. He tells you it's going to be miserable. He says, go find something happy to read.
Yeah, he says, and I think this is a direct quote, "I am sorry to tell you that this story begins with the Baudelaire orphans traveling along this most displeasing road, and that from this moment on, the story only gets worse."
And yet, because he tells us to look away, we can't help but stare. It's like he knows exactly what he's doing.
Oh, it's a brilliant rhetorical framing. I mean, by promising misery, Snicket is actually validating the reader's suspicion that the world isn't a fairy tale.
That's a great point.
Most children's literature, that's built on this promise of resolution. The idea that if you are good, good things will eventually happen to you.
Right. The moral arc of the universe bends toward justice.
Snicket just flips the table on that. He says, these children are good, they are brilliant, and terrible things are going to happen to them anyway.
And that creates this incredibly intense bond, doesn't it, between the reader and the orphans? It's like we're the only ones who are really witnessing the injustice.
We're in on it with them.
Yeah.
So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack the tragic events at Dr. Montgomery's house.
And to really analyze the specific evidence that children use to unmask a villain.
And we're also going to explore the definitions of words. Words like misnomer, dramatic irony, and maybe most importantly, brilliant, just as they're presented in the text.
It's all centered on that core conflict, isn't it? The Baudelaire orphans Violet, Klaus, and Sonny versus Count Olaf, who's in disguise as this character named Stephano.
With the well-meaning but, let's say, fatally oblivious Uncle Monty caught right in the middle.
And speaking of injustice, let's look at where this story actually picks up. We are following the Baudelaires right after they've survived the first book, The Bad Beginning.
Their parents have died in a fire. They've been sent to live with the truly villainous Count Olaf. And now they're being shuffled off to a new guardian.
But before we even get to the destination, we have to talk about the journey. They are driving down a road called Lousy Lane.
Which is just a masterclass in setting the mood through sensory details.
Yes.
Usually, writers rely on visuals to create gloom, dark clouds, rain, shadows, that sort of thing. Snicket goes for the nose.
The smell, it's overwhelming just reading about it. The road actually encircles a horseradish factory.
Right. And you have to consider the specific quality of horseradish. It's not just a bad smell like, say, garbage.
No, it's sharp.
It's sharp. It stings the sinuses. It makes your eyes water. It is an aggressive, invasive smell.
And the landscape completely matches it. The fields are described as gray. The trees that they pass produce sour apples.
Not even just inedible apples.
Mm-hmm.
Sour apples. Actively unpleasant.
And the river, the Grim River, is described as being 9/10 mud.
And that ratio is so telling. It's not just a muddy river. If a river is 9/10 mud, it's barely a river at all.
It's sludge.
It's a sludge pit. Snicket is painting this picture of a world that is fundamentally hostile to life. You have the industrial hostility of the horseradish factory on one side, and then the natural hostility of the mud and these unnerving fish on the other.
There is literally nowhere to look for comfort in this landscape.
Which is why the arrival at Uncle Monty's house feels like a hallucination. It's such a stark contrast.
They drive through this gray, stinging fog, and suddenly they're at this grand, beautiful house with these incredible snake-shaped hedges.
And the door opens, and we meet Dr. Montgomery.
Uncle Monty.
Uncle Monty. He is, and I don't think this is an exaggeration, the most tragic figure in the early part of the series.
I agree.
Because he represents the life the Baudelaires could have had, the life they deserved.
He defies every single expectation they have. These children are traumatized. They fully expect another Count Olaf, someone cruel, or at the very best, just indifferent.
And instead, they get this short, chubby man with a round red face who just shouts, "Hello, hello, hello,"
and immediately offers them coconut cream cake.
The cake is so important.
It is.
Note the flavor. Coconut, it's tropical, it's exotic. It is the exact polar opposite of the sour apples and the industrial horseradish from the outside world.
It's a signal. It says that this house is a microclimate of warmth and
Yeah,
sweetness.
a sanctuary.
And he's funny, but I have to ask you about the name, though. Montgomery. Montgomery. What is going on there?
It's just this delightful, absurdist humor. It suggests some kind of, I don't know, a bureaucratic glitch in the universe, or maybe parents with a very cruel sense of humor.
Could be.
But what I love is Monty's reaction to it. He knows it's ridiculous. He actually asks the children to call him Uncle Monty, because if they call him Dr. Montgomery, he feels like they're making fun of him twice.
It's such a humanizing trait. It shows he has humility, a sense of humor about himself. But the biggest shift, and this is what really struck me reading it again as an adult, is how he treats the children. Mr. Poe, the banker, treats them like luggage.
Like cargo, yeah.
Olaf treats them like slaves. But Uncle Monty...
He treats them like colleagues. And this is a crucial pedagogical shift. He doesn't just give them a home, he gives them agency.
Yes.
Within an hour of meeting them, he's assigning them jobs for his upcoming expedition to Peru. And it's not busy work. It's real, meaningful work.
Right. He looks at Violet and says, "You have a mechanical mind. I need you to help me repair the snake traps."
He says to Klaus, "You're a researcher, you're a reader. I need you to study the maps of the Peruvian terrain."
And Sunny, I mean, she's an infant. Most adults would just put her in a playpen with some toys.
Right. But Monty says, "You have sharp teeth. Excellent. I need you to bite this rope into smaller, more useful pieces."
He integrates their unique individual talents, even their idiosyncrasies, into the functioning of the household.
And for a child who has lost everything, being told, "You are useful and you belong here," is so much more powerful than just being told, "I love you," or "You are safe."
It creates a sense of tribe. They aren't just guests or wards. They are part of the team.
And the headquarters for this team is, of course, the Reptile Room itself.
Oh, the description of this room is just, I want to live there.
It's architectural poetry. It's described like a cathedral of science, high glass walls, a glass ceiling. Snicket says it allows you to be inside and outside at the same time.
Which is a beautiful metaphor for intellectual curiosity, but also, as we'll find out later, a massive security flaw.
A very good point. But for now, intellectually, it represents transparency and a connection to the natural world. It's the opposite of the dark, dingy, curtain-drawn house of Count Olaf.
And the collection inside is essentially a love letter to the wonders and oddities of biology.
The snakes. We have to geek out on the snakes for a minute. These aren't your, garden variety garter snakes.
Not at all. Snicket invents this whole fantastical taxonomy here.
My personal favorite is the Alaskan cow lizard,
A reptile that produces milk.
which is, biologically speaking, a total paradox. Reptiles are non-mammalian. They don't lactate. But Snicket uses it to show that the world is full of wonders that defy our rigid categories.
It's whimsical. And what about the inky newt?
Yes, it's covered in black dye so it can hide in puddles of ink.
Which is just a great example of evolutionary adaptation taken to a sort of comical extreme.
It is. Camouflage is a real thing, of course, but evolving to hide specifically in office supplies suggests these creatures have adapted to the human world in very bizarre ways.
And then there's the Virginian wolf snake, which has to be kept away from typewriters for some reason.
And the dissonant toad, that can imitate human speech. The room is just filled with impossible, wonderful things.
But the star of the show, the one that the whole plot hinges on, is the incredibly deadly viper.
The misnomer.
Let's break that down, because this isn't just a plot point, it's really a philosophy for the entire series.
It absolutely is. A misnomer is a wrong name, an incorrect label. And Monty introduces this terrifying, pitch-black, thick-bodied snake. It has a name that screams, "Run away."
And then, in a moment of pure horror for both the kids and the reader, it bites Sunny.
Violet and Klaus just,
Yeah.
they basically have a heart attack. You can feel their panic coming off the page.
Now Auntie laughs.
He laughs. Because the snake is completely harmless. It's a softie. It's friendly. He gave it that name as a prank to annoy the Herpetological Society.
Because same people who mock his name, Montgomery,
It was an
Monroe.
own little piece of rebellion. They take that to the stuffy scientific establishment.
But isn't it also kind of, I don't know, dangerous? I mean, teaching kids that something explicitly labeled deadly is actually safe.
And that's the deeper lesson, I think. The lesson isn't ignore warning labels. The lesson is question the source of the label.
Oh, okay.
Monty is teaching them that labels are arbitrary. Just because society or, an authority figure calls something deadly doesn't automatically make it so. You have to investigate for yourself.
And conversely, just because someone calls themselves Stephano,
Doesn't mean they aren't Count Olaf.
boom, there it is. That's the transition. Because just as the children are getting comfortable with the supposedly deadly viper, the real danger arrives.
And it arrives in a taxi.
The arrival of Stephano. This is the invasion of the sanctuary.
It really is.
Yeah.
The tone of the book just shifts on a dime.
The description of Stephano is so deeply unsettling. He's tall, thin, he has no eyebrows, and this long, scraggly beard. And the children know immediately. It's a visceral reaction. They look at him and they just know.
It's the uncanny valley effect, but it's applied to a person they actually know. He looks almost like a stranger, but the underlying structure, the shiny eyes, the wheezy voice, it's all Count Olaf.
But there's a physical problem, a major one.
The
The tattoo. We know from the first book that Olaf has an eye tattooed on his left ankle. It's his barcode. It's the one thing he can't change. So the children, they look at his ankle.
And there's nothing there, just pale skin.
This is a massive gaslighting moment for them. Their instincts are screaming Olaf, but the physical evidence directly contradicts them. And it freezes them.
And that hesitation is exactly what Olaf relies on. He knows they know. There's a terrifying scene early on where he's alone with them, and he basically drops the act.
He doesn't say, I am Olaf, but he threatens them in a way that only Olaf would.
The knife scene.
The knife.
He's admiring the snake-shaped hedges, and he pulls out this long, jagged dagger.
What?
And he tells this joke about a man who decided it would be funny to cut off his cousin's toes.
And he's looking right at Sonny when he says it.
It's so predatory. He's holding a weapon, standing inches from them, threatening to mutilate a baby, and he frames it all as just making conversation.
It highlights their absolute isolation. They are in a house full of people. Uncle Monty is right there in the next room. But they are completely and utterly alone with this monster.
And Monty doesn't perceive the threat because he's operating on normal social norms. You don't assume your new lab assistant is a child-mutilating psychopath in disguise.
You assume he's just a bit weird.
Exactly.
Monty actually does get suspicious, though, but this is where it gets so frustrating for the reader. He's too smart for his own good.
He over-intellectualizes the problem. He sees Stephano acting shady, asking too many questions about the snakes and the reptile room, and Monty thinks, aha, I have deduced it.
He's a corporate spy.
Sent by the Herpetological Society to steal the incredibly deadly viper.
He thinks it's professional jealousy.
It's such a pristine example of confirmation bias. Monty is a scientist. His world revolves around herpetology, so he assumes everyone else's world does too.
He can't imagine that Stephano doesn't give a single thought to the viper, that he's there for the children's fortune.
He projects his own motivations onto his enemy.
And this leads to the moment of dramatic irony that makes me want to just scream at the book. The ticket tearing scene.
It's so painful to read. Monty gathers everyone together. He wants to have this big, triumphant moment to show he's in control.
He takes Stephano's ticket to Peru, the very ticket that was the Baudelaire's only escape route, and he rips it into confetti.
And then he looks at the children, so proud of himself, and he says, your Uncle Monty has the situation in hand.
And the definition of dramatic irony is right there in the text. It's when the audience knows something that the character does not.
And we know. We know he has just trapped himself in a house with a murderer. We know that by destroying that ticket, he hasn't fired a spy. He has cornered a predator.
He thinks he's playing chess, and it's just called checkmate.
But he's actually just handed his opponent the knife.
It's so tragic because it comes from a place of love. He is genuinely trying to protect them. But his intellectual arrogance, his belief that he can outsmart the bad guy, is what gets him killed.
It is his fatal flaw.
And that brings us to the inevitable tragedy. Section 3. The murder.
It happens the morning they were supposed to leave for Peru. The children wake up. The house is quiet. Too quiet. They go looking for Uncle Monty.
And they find him in the reptile room. The description is just... it's haunting. He's sitting in a chair. There were 2 small holes in his neck. And his face is incredibly pale.
The scene has been staged to look like a terrible accident. The Mamba de Mal, a snake whose name literally means snake of evil, is out of its cage.
The implication is clear. The snake bit him.
But before the children can even begin to process their grief, The adults take over. And this is where the book shifts from a street mystery into a brutal satire of bureaucracy and incompetence.
Enter Mr. Poe and Dr. Lucafont.
Oh, Mr. Poe.
We have to talk about Mr. Poe's reaction here. The children run to him. They are hysterical. They are screaming, "Stephano killed Uncle Monty," and Mr. Poe's first instinct is to scold them.
He scolds them for being rude, for interrupting. This is a concept that some sociologists call ritualism. Mr. Poe is so completely obsessed with the rituals of propriety, proper introductions, good manners, not interrupting adults, that he is rendered blind to the urgent reality of a murder.
It's adultism at its absolute worst. The implicit belief that an adult's social comfort is more important than a child's physical safety. He literally says, "Children, please don't be rude to Stephano," while they are all standing over a dead body.
It's beyond absurd. And then you have Dr. Lucafont, the supposed medical examiner.
Oh my God, the peaches. We have to talk about the peaches.
It is the single most grotesque detail in the entire book, I think.
I agree. So Lucafont is there to perform an autopsy. He's discussing the tragic death of this beloved man. And while he's talking, he opens a can of Uncle Monty's preserved peaches and just starts eating them with his fingers.
It's visceral. You can almost hear it. The sticky syrup, the loud chewing sounds, the slurping. It is a complete violation.
It shows a total lack of reverence for the dead, for the space, for anything. It's a signal to the reader immediately. This man is not a real doctor.
No. A real doctor wouldn't contaminate a crime scene with snack food. A real doctor would have some shred of empathy. This man is a monster in a lab coat.
It's meant to make you feel physically ill. And it isolates the children even more. The doctor is a fraud. The banker is useless. So the Baudelaires come to a stark realization: we are on our own.
And this is the pivot point of the novel, the investigation. They stop crying and they start working.
And they split up based on their skill sets, which I love.
It's like a mini heist movie. Violet, the inventor, goes for the physical evidence. Klaus, the researcher, goes for the books. And Sunny, the biter.
Sunny goes for, well, muscle.
She's on guard duty. She's the bouncer.
Let's deep dive into Violet's task first. Because Snicket doesn't just say she picked the lock. He gives us a full lesson in mechanical engineering.
He really does. The problem is a shiny silver padlock on Stephano's suitcase. Violet doesn't have a key or, set of professional lockpicks. She has to improvise with what's around her.
So she looks around the room, she sees a lamp, she unplugs it, and takes the plug apart to get at the metal prongs inside.
Right. Brass prongs. Now, here is the immediate physics problem. The lock mechanism is made of steel. The prongs are made of brass, which is a much, much softer metal.
So if she just jams them in and twists, it's not going to work.
No, the friction is going to cause the soft metal to gall. Basically, it will grab and twist and just snap without ever turning the tumblers.
Oh, she needs a lubricant.
But she can't use oil. It's too messy. She doesn't have any readily available. So she runs to the kitchen and grabs a bar of soap.
Soap. It's so clever.
It's brilliant. Soap is a lipid. It's a fat. It coats the metal, and it reduces the coefficient of friction just enough so that the soft brass can slide against the hard steel without seizing up. She's not just jamming things in a lock. She's actively engineering a solution based on material properties.
And the tension is incredible. She's doing all of this on the porch, and the Reptile Room has those glass walls we talked about earlier. Stephano is inside. He can look out and see her at any moment.
She's working entirely by feel. She can't see the tumblers. The text describes her feeling the pins shift, listening for the tiny clicks. It's so tactile. And then, snap.
The pick breaks.
It's the absolute nightmare scenario. The soft metal finally fatigued, and a piece of it snapped off inside the keyway.
You think it's over, but then you hear a click.
It held on just long enough. The lock opens. It's a huge victory, but a terrifyingly close one.
And while she's basically having a heart attack on the porch, Klaus is in the library, systematically destroying the official snakebite theory.
This is the forensic analysis part of the operation. Klaus grabs one of Monty's books on the Mamba du Mal, and he finds two words that save the day: strangulatory and tenebrous.
Okay, let's unpack those. Strangulatory sounds pretty straightforward. It sounds like strangle.
Exactly. The book says the Mamba du Mal kills by crushing its victim's trachea. It doesn't rely on venom to kill. It relies on constriction, on brute force.
But Uncle Monty wasn't strangled or crushed. He just had 2 small puncture marks on his neck.
That's strike one. Then the second word, tenebrous hue. Tenebrous is a great word. It means dark, shadowy, gloomy.
So a dark color.
Right. The book says the victims of this snake turn a dark, bruised purple color from the lack of oxygen.
But Uncle Monty was pale. The book says pale as the moon.
Strike two. Klaus uses perfect negative logic. If the snake had killed him, he would be purple and crushed. He's pale and intact, therefore the snake did not kill him. It's a flawless syllogism.
So now they have it. They have the how, injected venom, and they have the who, Stephano Olaf, but they need to present their case, and the adults won't listen to them.
They need a distraction. They need to get everyone into the reptile room for the big reveal. And this leads to Sonny's masterful performance.
The diversion. The incredibly deadly viper is still loose in the room. Sonny sees it, and she decides to stage a scene. She shrieks. She falls down. The snake wraps itself gently around her.
And Mr. Poe absolutely loses his mind.
He starts screaming this bizarre list of names. Zeus and Hera, Nathaniel Hawthorne. It's just panicked nonsense.
He's panicked because he buys the label, he sees the name Incredibly Deadly Viper, and he believes it. He thinks Sonny is about to die.
But Stephano makes a fatal error.
It's his vanity. Count Olaf cannot stand being wrong, and he cannot stand panic that he doesn't personally control.
So in the middle of all the chaos, he shouts, "It's fine. That snake is one of the most harmless snakes in the entire collection."
And there's this silence, the record scratch moment.
Because 5 minutes ago, he claimed he knew absolutely nothing about snakes. He claimed he was just a simple assistant who was afraid of them.
And now, suddenly, he's an expert on the specific temperament of this incredibly rare viper.
He outed himself. His overwhelming need to be the smartest person in the room exposed him as a liar.
It's a classic villain weakness.
Hubris.
So the stage is now set for Section 5, the unmasking. Violet drags the incriminating suitcase into the room. She dumps the entire contents on the floor.
And she uses the haystack metaphor. Violet says finding a single needle in a haystack is hard, but finding the hay is easy, so she just dumps the whole haystack.
The evidence is just overwhelming. Let's list it out. 1. A glass vial clearly labeled Venom du Mal.
Stolen from Monty's cabinet, the murder weapon.
2. A syringe.
Used to inject the venom and simulate the bite marks.
3. The tickets to Peru for the ship called the Prospero.
Which proves premeditation. And crucially, the tickets are for Olaf, Violet, and Klaus. He was planning to smuggle Sonny in the suitcase.
Horrifying. And 4. The smoking gun. A powder puff and a hand mirror.
To Mr. Poe, this just looks like vanity. Oh, the man has makeup. But Violet knows. She connects the dots. No socks. The powder puff. The strangely pale ankle.
It's not magic, it's foundation. It's such a grounding, almost mundane moment. The children were afraid of this supernatural, unstoppable evil, but it turns out his disguise was just cheap drugstore makeup.
Violet takes a handkerchief, rubs the ankle, and there it is. The eye.
Unmasked. Stephano is Count Olaf. The children are vindicated.
And this is where a normal book would end. The police arrive, Olaf goes to jail, cue the triumphant music.
But Lemony Snicket does not do normal.
No. Because Dr. Lucafont, the man who is eating the peaches, steps forward to protest, and Sonny, who has just had enough, bites him.
She bites his hand, and it makes a solid clunk sound.
What?
It's a wooden hand. It falls off. And underneath that fake hand is a hook.
The hook-handed man.
Yep.
One of Olaf's henchmen from the first book.
The accomplice was there the whole time, posing as the medical examiner. This recontextualizes everything. The botched autopsy wasn't just incompetence, it was a conspiracy. Olaf had inside help from the very beginning.
And in the sheer confusion of a man's hand falling off, which is frankly a chaotic image, Olaf and his henchmen bolt. They run for the car.
The children are screaming at Mr. Poe, "Do something! Get in your car! Drive after them!"
And Mr. Poe just stops. He stands in the doorway, and he refuses to move.
This part makes me so angry every time I read it. He says, "I can't let you children chase after criminals. It's far too dangerous. We have to wait for the police to handle it."
He chooses procedure over justice. He chooses the appearance of safety over the actual elimination of the threat.
And by waiting for the proper authorities, he allows the murderer to escape, to kill again. It is the ultimate failure of the adult protector.
It is maddening. The bad guys get away because the good guy was too polite and rule-bound to chase them.
And that leaves us with the aftermath.
Yeah.
Section 6, the wreckage.
Uncle Monty is dead, Count Olaf is gone, and now a new man arrives, a man named Bruce.
Bruce, the director of marketing for the Herpetological Society. He's wearing a loud plaid suit and smoking a cigar. He is the complete antithesis of Uncle Monty.
Right, Monty was passion, curiosity, and pure science. Bruce is commerce and bureaucracy.
He's there to liquidate the collection.
It's absolutely heartbreaking. He uses the word retrieving the snakes, but we all know what that means. They are being boxed up and shipped off to zoos or labs or, as he darkly implies, put to sleep if they aren't useful enough.
The sanctuary is being dismantled piece by piece. The inky newt, the Alaskan cow lizard, they're all being crated up like inventory.
And Bruce looks at the incredibly deadly viper and he just sneers. He says something like, "What an idiotic name, and to think Monty was supposed to be brilliant."
And this comment triggers the final, beautiful linguistic analysis of the book, the multiple meanings of the word brilliant.
The children stand up to him. They insist he was brilliant.
But they are using the word in a completely different way. Bruce means brilliant in the academic sense. Smart, clever, having a good reputation. A brilliant scientist. He thinks the prank name proves Monty was unprofessional and stupid.
But the children mean brilliant like a diamond or a star.
Exactly. The etymology of brilliant comes from the French brilliant, which means shining. To the children, Uncle Monty was a source of light. In the dark, gray, horseradish-smelling world they're forced to live in, Monty was a beacon.
He was warm, he was kind, he shone.
And as the truck drives away with all the reptiles, we get that final gut punch of an image. The incredibly deadly viper is in its cage, looking back at the children. And Snicket writes that it was crying tiny, shiny tears.
It's a moment of pathetic fallacy, attributing human emotion to an animal, but it works so well. The monster is mourning the man. The innocent creature named Deadly is the only one, besides the children, who truly understands the loss.
And the children turn to each other. Violet tells Klaus, "You were brilliant for finding that research." And Klaus tells Violet, "You were brilliant for figuring out the lockpick." And Sunny babbles, brilliant in her own way.
They are acknowledging that the light hasn't gone out completely, it has just passed to them.
They have to be the brilliant ones now. They have to shine for each other, or they won't survive the darkness that they know is coming.
That's heavy. But it's also incredibly empowering, isn't it?
It is. At its core, it's a story about resilience in the face of absolute failure from the adult world.
So let's wrap this deep dive up. We've covered a lot. We've talked about the psychology of reverse psychology, the physics of lockpicking, the fictional biology of snakes, and the catastrophic failure of bureaucracy. What is the big takeaway for you?
For me, it all comes back to the misnomer. We live in a world that is just full of labels. Expert, safe, deadly, trustworthy. This book teaches us that those labels are often applied by people like Mr. Poe, people who are more concerned with order than with truth.
Or they're applied by people like Count Olaf, who use them to deceive.
Precise.
So the lesson is, look at the ankle, not the socks.
Exactly. Don't trust the label on the vial. Check the contents for yourself. Don't trust the name Stephano. Look for the tattoo. Critical thinking is the only real defense against a world that is constantly trying to trick you.
And maybe watch out for dramatic irony in your own life. Because if you think you have the situation in hand just because you tore up a ticket, you might be the one who's really in the trap.
A chilling thought to end on.
Well, on that happy note, on that unfortunate note, that concludes our deep dive into the Reptile Room.
If you see a book by Lemony Snicket,
run the other way.
Or read it, but don't say we didn't warn you.
Thanks for listening, and remember to look away.